Welcome back to Reporting for Replication. As we saw in the demonstration, replication isn't always the easiest thing to get set up. There's a lot of moving pieces that you have to deal with. Now, once replication is set up, there's a lot that we can do with it. Specifically, one of the really important things is the fact that we can index our subscriber differently than the publisher is going to be indexed. Now, this is useful because we're going to be running reports on our subscriber, not our production application. So having our production indexes on the subscriber, probably not all that useful. Having our reporting indexes on the publisher, also probably not all that useful because we're not creating reports on our publisher. Now, when it comes to monitoring this replication topology, this is where the replication monitor is going to get used. Now, you saw me use that a little bit in the previous demo. I'm going to go ahead and show it to you again, though, this time showing you a little more features that are going to be available within it. Let's go ahead and take a look at that replication monitor demo so you can make sure that your reporting environments always remain up to date in real time. So you can see here we're back on the exact same configuration we had before. And we'll go ahead and bring up the replication monitor again. So as you can see, we've got several tabs available to us. We've got a tab that has all our subscribers. If we had multiple subscribers for this publisher, they'd be listed here. We have a tracer tokens tab, an agents tab, and a warnings tab. Now, if we click up in the tree, so we're selecting a specific publisher, we'll see all the publications on that publisher. If we click up even higher, we don't get an even higher level view, we get simply basic information. This publisher's view, where we're looking at all the publications within a publisher, is very, very handy sometimes, because this is going to let us get a quick overview of what's going on and what the status of all our publishers are. If we had 20 or 30 publishers, we wouldn't want to click through each one looking for status information. Getting it all in one place is a lot easier. We can also click on our subscriptions watch list, which will give us some basic information about all the various publishers that are running. And we can break these down by the different kinds of subscriptions that are set up. You can also see the publisher level agents which are running. We can see snapshot agents, the log reader agents, curator agents, and then the various maintenance jobs as well. So let's go ahead and click back on our publication and look at the publication tabs again. So here, as we saw before, you can see a specific distribution agent. So if we expand this out a little bit, we'll see what subscription this is for. It's for the instance sub 1, the database AW2012. Performance is excellent, latency is 0, and we can see when the last synchronization happened. If we double click on this, we can see some very specific details. Specifically, it's going to tell us exactly what has been done since this agent started. Now, as you can see, there are no replicated transactions available currently. We can also look at the publisher to distributor history to see how many transactions are being moved currently and when things started up. We can also look and see how many undistributed commands there are. So what this tab is actually doing is it's running a query against the distribution database to see how much data there is to push. It also makes some fairly okay estimates as to how long it's going to take to actually push that data from the distributor to the subscriber. If the commands are queued up in the transaction log on the publisher, they're not going to be shown here. So let's go ahead and close this and look at the next set of tabs. On the Tracer Tokens tab, we can look and see how long it's taking for data to move from the publisher to the distributor and from the distributor to the subscriber. All we're doing is putting a record into a transaction log. We're not actually writing data into the database. Let's go ahead and insert a tracer token and see how long it takes for data to move. As you can see, the data is moving very, very quickly. We're simply pushing the data in, and it's coming straight across within about 2 seconds. On the Agents tab, as we saw before, we can see the Snapshot agent and the Log Reader agent. The Snapshot agent is what created that initial snapshot for us, so it does not run very often. Realistically, only when we need to create a new subscription, or if somebody went and modified data on our subscriber and we needed to re-push all the data to it. On the Warnings tab, there's a couple of basic alerts that we can configure. We just need to tell SQL Server what to do with these various alerts. As you can see, there's several to pick from. You just need to select the ones you want to use. You can then just configure the alert to whether or not it's going to throw an alert into the SQL Server agent log or not. Click Save Changes to save any changes we wish to make. So let's go ahead and push some data into the system and see how things go. As you can see, I've got my SQL script here, and I'm just going to run a never-ending loop, just inserting new data into this database log table. Let's go ahead and click Execute and get this thing started. Let's go ahead and look at the properties of our subscription, and we're going to see that top action changing every time we click refresh. Now, sometimes you'll see the distribution agent session disappear. That's okay. Just click refresh again, and it'll pop back up. As you can see in the actions message, we're getting different messages each time as we're pushing new data through the system. On the undistributed commands, we have a lot of commands that have been queued up. We're slowly eating away at that backlog and then getting a new backlog depending on how long it's taking for the subscriber to do its work. Obviously, we're inserting data a lot faster than users normally would. As you can see, it's now estimating 1 second to insert the 7,500 rows. When it comes to monitoring and troubleshooting SQL Server replication, realistically, the replication monitor is going to be your first line of defense and the first place you really want to go to look and see how the latency is working and how data is moving through the system. Let's go ahead and add another tracer token and see how long data is taking to move through the system now. So as you can see, it's taking about 5 seconds to get to the distributor and then about 1 second to get to the subscriber. So our latency is still pretty good. We can still realistically call this a near real-time system. So in summary, transactional replication is going to give you a good way to copy data to another instance to allow users to run reports against the second instance. While the data isn't real-time, it's going to be what we consider to be near real-time, or in other words, pretty darn close to now. Now, replication can get backlogged, which does happen quite often on heavy load systems. But if it gets backlogged, we just need to work with the configuration, tune some of the higher end parameters, and see if we can't make things run a little bit faster. We can filter our data both vertically and horizontally so that we can reduce the amount of data that we're sending across. Now, conveniently, we can index our subscriber differently to increase the performance on our subscriber to make our reports run quite a bit faster.